It's a beautiful day out at Eldowette's farm, and today we're taking some steps to keep it beautiful. And in that, it is some cleaning and maintenance on our gutters. So today, it's a very simple process. Now by simple, I didn't necessarily say it's easy, but we only require some basic tools. And if you've never cleaned out gutters before, this might be a good reference just to let you know how doable it is. So all we need here, just a couple basic cleaning tools, rated from my wife's equipment, and a dirty old bucket. Dirt is not required, but it's certainly welcome. Alright, it's very simple. We just start digging in here, get it all collected up. Trying, of course, to get it directly into the bucket. You can see we started a little bit growing here. Of course, an indication when you start seeing pine trees growing up from your gutters, it's clearly time to get it cleaned out. And of course, if you don't care for all the muck in this, you can always put some work gloves on. Didn't include that in the required tool list, but it's certainly an option. As you can see, this task here, first step is very simple. The most complex part is your reach. Of course, you can get up on the roof and dig from that side, but it is safer to just go ahead and stay on the ladder and shift it from place to place as you go. That's just a matter of what you're most comfortable with. And I hear one of our volunteers that wants to come out and give some good moral support. Alright, and that's pretty much I've gotten what I can reach in this area. Next step, you just get down, move the ladder, and get right back up. Another thing is, we've actually got a full bucket here already in this one little stretch. And of course, what would we do with this? Most people probably just take it to the wood line, put it in a trash bag for to pay someone to haul it away. But I've got another idea. Now, what to do with a big bucket of gutter trash? Well, hopefully this little tree sticking out gives you an idea. What does that mean? That means this is some very healthy compost for growing things in. That little pine tree sprung up on its own from a seed. So what we're going to do, dump it in a pot. This is some extremely rich, all-natural compost. Going to fill the pots. Maybe put a little already soil on top to go ahead and get our other plants a start. But we're going to get a couple pots of good composted soil out of this. So rather than going and buying some, or even having to find some, even make it, that little pine tree demonstrated this is all ready to go. Maybe with just a little bit of help to put some basic soil in there. Now, what are we doing with the pots? That's a topic for another video. But the point is, it's going to make some great soil. Now back to setting this up. One thing as you're moving, you want to make sure that you get it close enough where you can reach the spot where you stopped, and also maximize how much you can get to the next point before you have to move it again. Not that it's going to be a big deal, but of course the more efficiently you can place them, the quicker and easier you get the job done. Throw all that in there, it'll all compost down, pine tree seedlings and all. Of course, if I was looking to plant some pine trees somewhere on the property, this would be a convenient way to go ahead and just transplant these. But I have plenty of trees at least ones that don't have something edible on them. It's enough of a job keeping these all under control that are here, which I'm happy to have them. I enjoy having lots of shade options. As well as a lot of this is good for recirculating the soil. These are all, even these leaves right here are all nutrients brought up from very deep in the ground. That helps to enhance all our soil and provide some good free potting soil as well. Just got to keep them in their place. As we are called not to abuse, but to care for and to have dominion over nature. But dominion doesn't mean neglecting or just controlling. It includes caring and watching over it, but also making it work for us as well in a mutually beneficial way. If you want to get as much of this debris up as possible, for the next step, it'll make that a whole lot easier when we come back here after I've gotten all the main debris out. And there's another bucket for the pot. One thing, if you do use any of these seedlings and that, you want to make sure that they're buried so they will break down in compost rather than growing back up out there again. Not that it'd be too difficult to pull it out another time. Of course, you will want to note with this, looking at it, it is not fully broken down, so as I say, you want to put some other soil on top just to make sure that it has a good, completely composted soil so that the roots and stems can get a good grip when you put other plants in. Now, one note on these branches up here that you can see that are hanging over the house will contribute significantly to what you have to dig out of the gutters, so that will make your cleaning much easier to cut them back, as well as for pest control. These branches right here, they're actually a climbing point where bugs such as roaches and other pests could climb up and then drop off onto the roof, increasing the chance of you having to deal with pests in your home. So cutting these back, as much as I like the shade over our deck, keeping these cut back away from the roof line will both reduce maintenance and keep pests out of your home. Looks like I have someone who came to supervise the work. When you do have a tree like this that is very close to the building, you do have to really stay on top of it. To give you an idea, this right here, where that is all grown over, which I think it's actually grown over more than what the camera's picking up, that I actually had cut back beyond to where it was away from the roof just a few weeks ago. So during the summer, it can grow very fast and overtake that. So you want to make sure you keep it cut back. The further you cut it away, the longer it will be before you have to cut it again. And at this point here, I'm just going to continue on down the line for the rest of what we have to cover on the deck here, and then I'll show you the next step. Nice thing about a lot of do-it-yourself projects, if you have to interrupt to go get on to appointments or other things, or the weather gets just too hot and the sun comes out and you do not want to do this task in the sun, if you don't have to, then you can pause, hopefully be able to leave your equipment in place safely and come back to it when you're able to later. So I had to leave and take care of a few things, and then the next day was actually very rainy. So I didn't want to be out here trying to dig through all this in the rain, but now it's a nice clear sunny day. It's going to be hot in a little bit, but I'm going to knock out what I can right here, at least finish up the part over the deck, and then we'll get to what can be the hardest part. So let me just knock out this part and then we'll move on to that. Even this, I can smell a little bit from the rain yesterday. Not real bad, but a little unpleasant smell of all this composting down. Of course, that's also getting it ready to use in the pots. Nice part too is that smell. It may not be too pleasant, but one good thing about that smell is that is the smell of free potting soil. Excuse me, how rude of these leaves to get in the way, but I think they're just trying to get a spotlight as well. You don't have to get it perfectly clean, but you do want to get as much out as you can. That'll make the later step easier. And you don't have to stretch too far. You want to make sure you're always being safe with this part. But the further you can reach, the fewer times you have to move the ladder. You can reach as little as, or as much as you safely can, making sure you get it as cleaned out as you can. But does not have to be perfect at this step. And you see why in a little bit. Now we're to what I would consider the hard part of cleaning out the gutters. And of course, the task of cleaning out gutters is simple, but not necessarily easy. And how hard it is does depend on the build of the gutters and the house that you're working on. In our case, this is probably about 12 feet high, and I've got a 14-foot extension ladder extended out just a little bit so that I can get up there. You may be able to see I've got some slightly overgrown bushes that need their own work done on them, but that's another task. So we just need to get up here and clean out the gutters just like I did over the deck. The only difference, of course, is the ladder, and that's where it comes in as far as being potentially hard to do this job, is if you don't have the right ladder. And you need to make sure you have the right one, the right length, and I will go ahead and make a note of a proper safety violation that I do have here. When you put up any type of ladder leaning against any structure or support, the distance of the base of the ladder should be about a quarter of the length of the ladder that you're working with. And of course, this is longer. It's because I simply don't have a choice. The bushes are in the way. I cannot appropriately place it, but I do have the bottom of the ladder braced to make it secure. And that is the big risk, is if you have the angle too big, then the ladder can actually start sliding down as the feet slide out. So we have taken a preventative step to make sure that doesn't happen, but you need to be aware of that safety position of any extension or straight ladder like this that you lean up against any structure. Again, 1/4 of the length of the ladder should be the distance of the base of it from whatever wall or other structure that you're leaning against. And of course, make sure whatever structure you're leaning against is strong enough to be able to support the ladder leaning against it, along with your body weight and anything you may be carrying up there. And of course, anything that does fall down is just falling here right into the bushes. It'll compost down, be mulch and fertilizer itself. That'll just add to the soil on the ground. And of course, as you're up on a ladder like this, also always be very conscious of your angle and your foot stability Make sure you keep your balance up here and don't get it all unstable yourself. Always make sure to maintain 3 points of contact, only moving one at a time as you go up or down the ladder. Great, that was a good successful climb up there, getting everything out, cleaned out to the extent that I can with the shovel. And now we have one other section here that I cannot get the ladder over. I know the camera may or may not capture it very well, but the issue with this ladder is it is heavy, and with the bushes there, it is not entirely stable. There's a possibility of it giving a little bit up and down. And we do not want to risk those windows there, putting the ladder in that place to get the last section between the deck and what I've already gotten at the end here. So I've got another option for that. I have a lightweight extension rod that just has a simple rubber handle on the end. I don't want to use the other end because of all the grooves and the joints in here, but this end will be really good, and being that it's very lightweight, it'll be easy to manage. I'm just going to push it all through from where the ladder is, push it towards the deck. So once I get it to this side, some of it's going to fall out, and that's fine. But the rest, we will go ahead and just clean up from on the deck. Now, how do I know when I pushed it all far enough? Well, before I started, I took note of where the pile ended and just make sure I get it all past there. Then I'll know it's within reach of getting it off the deck. You can also note, as things do fall down, how close they are to the deck to see if I'm actually over it. You know, when I said maintaining 3 points of contact, and I've got 2 arms up, I'm still leaning, bracing myself against the roof. So I've still got some stability there. So even though it may not look like it from there, I am still maintaining my 3 points of contact for stability. We're all in reach from that end. And another bucket for the flower pots. And with this part moved over, an easy little dig getting it out of here now. As long as I don't get it all over me in the process. Now the final step for getting the gutters cleaned is we still have the small amount of dirt and other debris that's still up in there that I just couldn't get out with the shovel. And so I'm just going to take the hose and wash it all out, wash it down the drain spout. If it does collect anywhere that it just won't wash out, I just get it with the shovel. I want to go ahead and explain it all now, because once I get up there and get the water running, you may not be able to hear anything I say. And the other thing to note, even though we're going to be spraying from the center of the house over to the drain spout, I'm going to actually start about halfway down, because we don't want it all to build up and get jammed up in one spot. So we rinse down what's at the end first and then work our way back so that it will have a nice continuous flow. You can see I'm actually feeding the hose down the line to push it all toward the drain spout. Got the hose fed through for the last section here. To go ahead and rinse all of it out, I'm going to go ahead and turn the water on and we'll get started. Okay, just having it running. It's got most of it cleaned out there. Try to break up a little bit of what collected right next to it. It is not necessary or even efficient or productive to try to get every last bit of dirt out, because of course the very next rain there's going to be a little bit of dirt getting back in here, but the cleaner the better. Something I noted from the other end is that there was water standing. Bear with me as I try to get this safely. So there is a backup here just from the residue that was left. It all collected here, or not all, but some of it collected here. So we've got to get that cleaned out to allow a full free flow of the water to go down. No real good spot to put the camera to catch the full view, but basically there's some handfuls of this, and I'm just going to throw this down. There's not a whole lot of debris left, but hopefully this is capturing where as soon as I move it, the water starts to flow. And then a little more catches. And a lot of it is going down the drain pipe, but that part will just wash right out. It's got gravity pushing all that down. A little bit of behind the camera. Now you can see it's, or hopefully you can see it's flowing freely now. And that's part of the point. We just want to get rid of as much of this buildup as possible. So when water does come through here, it's able to wash out whatever is here. Also, getting up whatever leaves are conveniently right here. Just not leave any extra debris. And there we go, it is pretty much clear. And of course it's going down. Nothing's caught in the drain pipe itself. Grab a little of this while I'm at it, get that out. And there we have at least half a clean drain pipe flowing freely. All right, we have succeeded in taking the gutters from this state to this. Now you see I've done half because we do have drain spout on each end. So I've started from the middle, gotten that cleaned, and gonna come back and do all the exact same thing on this side. For now we have it clean, clear. The only thing left to do is clean up the tools, blow off the deck. Of course we will need to pressure wash this as well. And cut back the tree limbs so that they're not dropping as much on here. And for this important task, we have Noah ready to blow off his responsibilities here.